Hello and welcome along to the NUFC360 podcast. I'm your host Stuart. I'm here tonight with Joel and with Matt, and we're going to discuss lots of things, including our lovely injury list, which has restarted back up again recently. We're going to discuss Sven Botman, and we're going to finalise our show by talking about the Big Six with a little special preview of tomorrow night's game at home to Everton. So let's get started. Joel, welcome along. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good. How about you? All good?
Very good. No one ever asks me how well I am. I am great. All the better for speaking to you. Are you heading to the match tomorrow, Joel?
Yes, I'll be there. I'll be there with the boys. Obviously, Everton. We've got a good record at home, at least against them, and it's always fun winding Pickford up. So should be
nice. We will get to him. Matt, how are you, mate?
I feel like I'm going to ask you how you are as well there. So
yeah, definitely. That's how all shows should start now. I'm great, but how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. All good, thanks, mate.
Yeah, and you're heading up as well, I believe.
Yeah, I'm heading up straight after the podcast.
Don't give your location away. They'll be tracking you. They'll meet you on the motorway on the way up. Very good. I'm massively jealous, as I always am, whenever you guys get to go to games. I'm stuck in Belfast. Okay, well, we'll start tonight, folks, by talking about injuries. Like, it's been another depressing week on that front. A good result, I think we all agree, a good result against Manchester United on Sunday, despite everything. But, I think Friday, Saturday, amongst others, Craig Hope was smashing our optimism to absolute pieces, tweet by tweet, every time he put something in there. So that was frustrating, with injuries to Alison Maximine and obviously to Alexander Isak. So producer Mark is just telling me Max is missing as he's mourning Isak being left out of the World Cup, which is a very good point. I did like what was Sports Lad or Lad Bible or something said Isak will miss the World Cup due to injury and not due to the fact that Sweden didn't qualify. And we can say that because Max isn't here and he won't get annoyed. Yeah. Okay. Joel, we had this discussion a couple of weeks ago when the injuries piled up and then got better and they're up again. But I'll ask you the same question. Are you worried, not about the players that we're losing, because we'll cover that, and I'm assuming any player of that quality is going to be a loss, but are you worried why we're getting so many injuries, or why these players specifically are picking up these injuries?
I don't know if I'm worried, but I personally put it down to something along the lines of the high press. It's similar to when Bielsa obviously had Leeds. It's that really, I don't think we're as sort of rigorous as them, but I do think it's to do with the work rate. So to say I'm worried, no, because I do trust our training team, the coaches, they're not going to overwork. They're going to have an understanding of when to stop on sort of pushing the players. But I suppose the way the injuries are at the minute, we've got to be careful because, like I said, if we're wanting to finish in, the top 7, getting even the Conference League, you've got to keep your key players fit. So, but yeah, I'd say that's where I stand at the minute.
And Matt, what about you? I mean, are you concerned? Are you concerned about the individual players and the fact that it's them? Or are you concerned about just the fact that we keep getting key players in general injured?
No, I spoke about it before. We mentioned it could be the training ground, but, I just feel as I agree with Joel. It could possibly be, how the intensity in training and the way we play now and the way we press. Eddie Howe expects a lot from his players and a lot from his team. And, I can imagine his training methods do push players to a certain extent, especially explosive players like Maxi, who could tweak a certain muscle or injury in the way he plays. But I don't think it's anything to worry about too much at the moment, because like I said in previous weeks, we've only lost once this season. Yeah. So at the moment, it seems to be going okay. But if we pick up another couple of injuries on top of the ones we've already got, then it could be worrying. Yeah, because I don't really trust Callum Wilson to keep playing week in, week out. To be honest,
it's a definite concern there. He has made a biscuits, and it's just the idea of having Chris Wood up front. As much as I like him and he tries, a point was made on a different podcast that I heard that we know what I imagine, but we have to change how we play whenever Chris Wood is playing because of the fact he obviously, likes up top, and obviously Eddie Howe is changing this into a more sort of, as you both talked about, gents, like a high pressing team, and playing at the feet as opposed to just lumping in the box as you would be for Wood. So it's probably not ideal. Under previous managers, now I'm thinking more Bruce because he's the most imminent one. I know that I remember ASM had a wee bit of a spell out where we won nothing. We didn't do anything because that's all his tactics were, just give the ball to ASM. But I don't remember or recall the same amount of injuries. Is that literally just because they were constantly having days off? Is that what it is, Joel?
I don't know what I can put it down to, but all I know is when Bruce was in charge, it was his fault, and it's certainly not Eddie's fault.
but that for good things and for bad things, like lack of injuries, it was his fault as well.
Don't blame it on a boogie, blame it on Bruce.
Okay, Joel, I'll stay with you this one because that wasn't really a question. The World Cup, like it or loathe it, excited or not excited. I'm pretty excited about it, to be honest, because it's the World Cup, and it's a bit unique. But will the World Cup help us? I mean, an interesting point when you look at it is, Isak's out for X amount of months. You say till after the World Cup, and you go, blimey, that's a long time. It's 5 games. It's not that many. Like, it's enough, don't get me wrong. It's half the games we played now, over half, so it's definitely enough. Yeah. But it's not that amount of time. He's not out until next year. He's not out until, February, March. Do you think the World Cup will help us injury-wise?
Well, fingers crossed, because, I mean, it's going to be, if you look at the squad, in terms of our main players, obviously Trippier, he's now pretty much set to go in his right back. So, I mean, it depends if he keeps injury-free, and then you've got time for players who are currently injured to recover, then maybe it is a sort of blessing in disguise, but we've just got to keep our fingers crossed for the people that are going to be representing the countries.
Producer Mark may be able to help us this. Do you boys know off the top of your head who is in line to go to the World Cup? I've obviously got Trippier. Who else is in your top? I know Botman has sort of...
Bruno will be going, definitely.
Who will?
Bruno.
Bruno. Yeah. Maybe Julian, but he doesn't really get it on for Brazil, which is absolute travesty. But okay, great to keep him here. Who else? I'm going through our starting 11. Shaw, Switzerland, did they qualify?
Shaw, he'll go.
Shaw, okay.
Botman's
under 21. Pope will go. There you go, Producer Mark. Bruno, Shaw, Pope. Boom. Thank you, Producer Mark. Always there with the information. That's fine. Well, it's kind of fine. If Bruno and Pope are injured, then that is not a sight I want to see. So let's just hope they maybe don't get on or don't play much more. That would be good. Possibly Wilson chimes in, Producer Mark, as well. A very good point, actually. I mean, that would worry me, him going. It really would. I would love it for him because he's such a likable bloke and he seems to work his absolute, bits off for everybody. I would like to see it for him, and it'd be nice to see a Newcastle sort of number 9 playing for England. Even though I'm not English, I'd like to see that for him and the reputation that comes with it. So yeah, that'll be pretty cool. Black Mamba comes in with the comments. Get your comments in, folks, if you are watching along, and we'll make you part of the show. Could help or hinder us, allow someone like Isak to recover without rushing back, but obviously hinder the current squad and their momentum, match fitness, and Eddie's plans. That's very true. I mean, Eddie will have planned for that, because he's a textbook over planner, but it's not something he probably would have wanted. But yeah, hopefully it helps. Matt, the injury list that we have, as I've already mentioned, it's kind of happened again after sort of a couple of weeks of us thinking we're getting back to somewhere. Does the current injury list and the consistency of those injuries, happening again and again and reoccurring, does that change where you think we will finish? Or are you still pretty much resolute as to where you were, 3 or 4 weeks ago? Do you still think we'll finish where you think we'll finish?
Yeah, no, it depends really on how many injuries we do get, because every team gets injuries. Every single team in the league or all over the country, it's sort of impossible to prevent any type of injuries, but you can, to an extent, prevent certain injuries, and you can maybe rest certain players in certain games. But I think that comes down to squad depth, and going back to the World Cup and these international competitions, we will see it more often now. We'll be signing these players who play for the country, so we'll see a lot of our players going and playing for them, and we are running that risk then of them going out there and going and get injured, and I feel like it's just going to think that's just going to keep happening, and it's something really we've sort of got to get used to be honest.
Yeah.
I think it'll ease with a good bit of squad depth, and that'll just take a bit of time.
Well, I mean, on that note, in squad depth, January. That's far enough away. Obviously, it's October, but in January, when we get there, it's just assuming we'll assume there's no more major injuries. Some of the injuries we have now are kind of the same, and they might have recovered. If we assume that that's the case, let's hope it is. Where would you like to see us strengthen in January? And Matt, I'll start with you this time. Where would you like to see? Just assuming things are as they are currently.
Yeah, I'll probably go with the wide areas. Just probably
both wings, or just the one.
Yeah, someone who's quite versatile. Really, who can play on either side would be ideal. But I mean, yeah, I'd probably say the weakest link would have been the right side where Miggy is. But then you've got Maxi on the left who's been injured quite a lot. So I'd have to probably say somebody who's quite versatile in the forward areas.
That sounds really, really sensible, because I know in the summer we all said the same thing. Even though Miggy was very, very good pre-season, got to replace Miggy, got to upgrade, got to move on, got to build, and he's been great. We certainly can't knock him. He's definitely deserved his chance to put his flag in the team. In the future. Pusher Mark says left back. This is a very interesting one. We have two very good left backs in Dan Burton and Matty Targett, who's been brilliant for us. Black Mamba saying midfield and the wings to add in more depth to squad. James Maddison would be an ideal recruit. And that came up. We had the transfer special, which shows at tail end of the summer there. We're all getting very excited about James Maddison. That sounds very plausible, doesn't it? He seems to be making all the right noises, and it's not as if Leicester are pulling up trees. They are the bottom of the league. Do you know what I mean? So they are definitely down there. Joe, what about you? Are you the same as Matt, or would you focus on anywhere else, or maybe you have any particular players that you would like to see us have a go and try and get?
I agree with the versatile attacker, obviously, because of injuries at the minute, and it would be very beneficial to have someone be able to play both sides. But I'd also say we really still need to go for a central defensive midfielder, like I don't know, sort of someone who's not necessarily on the level of Shelby, who can play there and plays a deep line playmaker. Someone who's just there to be a sort of Czech Tayoe kind of player. So yeah, I'd go for a central defensive mid. I'm not sure off the top of my head who I'd go for. I'd still love someone like Fofana. I mentioned him back before the season started. I think he'd be a great addition. Left back as well when you're going forward. I know we've obviously got Dan Burn, we've got Target. Dan Burn sort of, because I mean when you analyse how we play, it turns to a back three with Dan Burn sort of slotting in left centre back while Trippier moves up, and it's like, is that sort of sustainable for the future? I always have Dan Burn in that position, or do we look at maybe bringing in someone better, like suited to that role? Someone like Ndika, he's a great player. He literally plays that exact role. He played for, I think is he Leverkusen? Ndika, correct?
Ndika, not sure.
Yeah.
I'm behind in the Football Manager, so I'm not.
Yeah, it's a German club, anyways. I think it's Leverkusen or Gladbach. But anyways, he plays between left back and left centre back, so he'd be the ideal player. But I'd say in terms of strengthening the squad, definitely a central defensive mid, and I'd love a versatile winger. And like Black Mama said as well, I think Maddison would be great as well.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. Okay, on to I'm going to say the unsung hero. It kind of was unsung hero until maybe the past two games where people have really started talking about him. Obviously Kieran Trippier and Bruno have kind of taken, and Miggy, I suppose as well, have taken a lot of the highlights and a lot of the plaudits this year. But a player that's just slotted in after about one game and it's been just ridiculously solid is Sven Botman. Obviously, they had the protracted transfer last January. Obviously, didn't come, and we all thought, maybe not going to happen now. Then we got him in the summer ahead of AC Milan, and first game he didn't play, and we all thought, okay, Eddie's doing what Eddie does. He's better than the men, and he had to play. I think it was an injury, wasn't it, or we injury to Bernard Richard maybe, and he had to play, and he has not come out of that team. He has been utterly phenomenal since he started. Joel, is he a guaranteed starter now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure he's cemented that position. I mean, I'm just looking on FB Ref at some of his stats. I mean, 88 0.8% successful passes. He's averaging 4.56 clearances a game. He actually held a 100% area record up until the Brentford game, I think, which was just sensational. I mean, that was around 6 or 7 games played, I think it was. But he just adds this composure to the defense that we're not really used to. He's a really good ball playing centre back as well. So he can he's like really good defensively. He's tackling. There's not really, the only thing I can maybe pick up on as a flaw is maybe his turn of foot, and maybe when someone's running behind, maybe he can increase his pace. But other than that, he looks like he's going to be a starter for the rest of the season.
I mean, he's 21 or 22.
21, I think.
21. Either way, he's ridiculously young, and you think pretty raw, but he hasn't. He's won the league in France, obviously, with Lille, and he's just brilliant. You know, you can see why Maldini, who is their sporting director, AC Milan sporting director, I think they wanted him. You know, a defender of his caliber and his legacy recognizes game. He goes, I know what you're about, son, and he's massive as well. He's absolutely huge. Matt, I mean, I'm going to assume it's the same answer, so I won't ask you the exact same question. Please tell me if it's not, though. And Joel's kind of given his answer for this one. But what is, in your opinion, what is Botman's strengths, and if he has any weaknesses? I'm sure he has some, but what do you think?
Yeah, I'd probably say it's hard to see at the moment what his weaknesses are. Probably, like Joel just mentioned, by the way he turns, and maybe his pace as well. He's probably lacking a little bit of pace, and but his strengths, he's just a Rolls Royce, an absolute Rolls Royce. I know it's early days, but I think I saw earlier that he hasn't lost a game since he started and played for us, which is it's incredible. He seems to go a little bit unnoticed. It seems to be like, because he's so calm and the way he is, he seems to bring everybody in defence just to relax. Every time he's got the ball, I was
going to say, is he vocal? He seems quite a quiet bloke to me.
Yeah, it seems like his actions speak louder than his words with him. It seems like he leads by example in a calm way. If I saw him next to me, like the terror he is, and I feel a little bit more relaxed.
Yeah, I've never, the camera cuts back to your centre back after maybe you can see in the corner or clearing something, and I've never seen him shouting or say anything. So yeah, that tallies. He just leads by example. But when you think of, and I'm not dragging him, like the Lascelles will be doing a lot of shouting, which is good, and that's not a bad thing at all. Like shouting and rallying people, even Trippier will do that, shout and rally and give off. Whereas he doesn't seem to do. And I didn't know whether that would be a language thing or a confidence thing, or he's settling in. But he seems almost like a bit of a gentle giant. Doesn't say much, very quiet, but will absolutely brutalize you. That tackle against Anthony at the weekend, where he hurt his head, is that's blood and gut stuff. It was brilliant. Producer Mark come with a really good stat, very similar to yours, Joe. So his record so far for Newcastle is he's played 9 games, 4 wins, 5 draws, and importantly 4 clean sheets. And I suppose that by extension means that Pope's going to be pretty similar. The big stat for the week, which is very much linked to Botman, was we have the best defensive record in the Premier League. And I heard today, I think it was Paul in the time, Joe, you probably heard it as well. In 2021, we conceded 88 goals, and we've played 10 odd games, and we've conceded 9. Now, if you fast forward, and I'm not saying it'll be the same for the next, 20 or 30, you could be literally more than having that in a season by signing 2 players, like 2 of the straight back, your centre back and your full back, maybe 3 if you could burn stuff. The point is, it's absolute miraculous work. And when you think Eddie Howe was very much pushed as the candidate who can't organise a defence, to quote Simon Jordan, and I wouldn't even knock Simon Jordan. No, that was kind of the consensus from everybody. I think they were like Bournemouth league goals, that's what they do. But he worked on it, and he's obviously doing a very good work. I think he's brilliant. I agree with both of you completely. I think he's absolutely fantastic. I'm very relaxed when he's on the ball, and I haven't felt that way since. And this is going to link to our next thing. Jonathan Woodgate, when he used to get the ball, I don't know if you both remember him. If you're old enough, I don't know. But when he got the ball, I was never worried. It was like when Shearer was hitting the penalty. I was like, oh, that's fine, let's go. I mean, I know he missed 2 maybe in his whole career. Mark will probably tell me. But I was like, oh, it's going to, as soon as you got a penalty, it's going to be a goal. And whenever Woodgate was centre back, as soon as he got the ball or ball came, it's like, oh, he'll clear it, he'll sort it. You're always relaxed. It's a bit like having Trippier in the team. It's that sense of ownership and that leadership. Of your lifetime, which are obviously different to mine, age-wise, any centre backs for you stand out as being class or a cut above for you? Joel, I'll start with you.
Yeah. Is this comparing Botman to other Newcastle?
Well, I'm not saying compare, just favoured centre backs. I mean, there's Black Mamba saying he remembers Woodgate so reliable and a rock for Bobby. Problem was, as he's rightly pointed out, he could never stay injury free. Very true. So just any centre backs you remember nice and fondly. Producer Mark says Mike Williamson, which is, I hope, a joke.
Yeah, him and James Perch were an awful
Perchy.
Yeah. But in terms of Newcastle, I don't know if I am to compare anyone, there isn't. 'Cause I mean, Colaccini, I suppose he was a long serving, but he played completely differently.
Yeah.
So if I was to try and make a comparison with
you don't have to compare. I'm just more thinking about centre backs you like. There's no I fully believe there'll be no comparison. I think he could be one of the best centre backs we've ever had. Just a centre back you like. I think he's
one of a kind, definitely. Yeah. But I mean, in terms of my time, like I loved in the derbies watching Stephen Taylor just put everything on the line. It was great. Who else have we had that's actually?
Well, Producer Mark says Lejeune, which is a lovely shout, because he was class, and then Harry Kane assaulted him on the pitch and didn't even get sent off. So that's a really good shout, actually. One for me from Black Mamba, Nikos Davizas, absolute quality. Do you boys remember him? No.
Yeah, I remember him. Yeah,
Nikos Davizas was class. Scored a penalty against Sunderland. No, header against Sunderland. Sorry, class. Absolutely. I mean, look, he wasn't class, but he worked his arse off, and he was rough and ready. He got at it. Matt, what about you? Any notable centre backs for you?
I don't think we've been spoilt for choice, to be honest, since Ashley's taken since he's taken charge. We've had a few okay centre halves. I mean, Colaccini is probably the one we can probably most recently remember who's probably the best centre half I've seen. Maybe Lejeune for a short period. Stephen Taylor, I feel like I saw some people the other day actually talking about him, and they were saying he's slightly overrated. I think that was a little bit harsh. He was at us for a while. He didn't lack, he lacked a bit in pace and in certain areas. But when you compare the other centre halves we've had, we've had some really, really bad ones, didn't we? Like Kasapa and we had like Kasapa,
Boomsong.
Boomsong. That's what I was thinking of. Like Boomsong, Titus Bramble. Like we've had some pretty awful centre halves. Was he right?
He plays centre back sometimes. No, I think he was. You're right. I think he did play Yanga Mbemba.
Yeah.
Oh, Kieran Clark is a wee bit harsh from producer Mark there. Kieran Clark. He was decent in the Championship. He stole 11 from us when he came up in the Premier League. And look, Kieran Clark is the father of Joe Linton playing in the centre midfield role. If Kieran Clark did not exist, then Joe Linton would not be playing centre mid right now. Simple as that, you'd imagine. Look, that it's fun. It's fun to have a bit of a trip down memory lane there. So the next topic we're going to have a look at is we're going to talk about the Big Six. And I suppose my first question, Joe, is should that be the Big Seven, which we're very much a part of?
Yes, I'll go for a short answer and say yes. I certainly think if it's not now, it's inevitably going to become that way, and it's going to be us where we're going to be in higher than the top 7. So, but yeah, right now I'd say yeah. And
so, do you think? I'm trying to word this question carefully because I don't want to just put you under pressure and say you're expecting. Well, do you think we will get top 7 this year?
Yeah, I'll go with the same answer I've gave sort of all season. I think if you keep Bruno, Maxi, Wilson, Trippier, now probably going on to Botman and Shaw as well. If they all manage to stay fit, then I don't really have many doubts. It's just when you lose one of them, the inconsistencies start to sort of play out. Yeah. So it's hard to say. If we keep everyone fit, I'll go with yes.
Yeah, I think I'd like anything, and I think you have to play law of averages. Some will get injured, some won't. It's not unless you have an absolute disaster, which hopefully you don't. I mean, I have a couple of Manchester United supporting friends, and we watched the game on Sunday. And before the game, we were having a chat in the pub, and they were asking me what I thought would happen, and I said I don't know. Obviously, I'm not sure. I get very pessimistic the closer and closer it gets to away matches. Home matches are probably more optimistic, but away matches I just get more and more pessimistic. But regardless of the pessimism, all I said was, look, we'll not get thumped. We'll not concede a lot of goals. And I said, and you'll do very well to beat us. I'm not saying we'll win. You'll do very well to beat us. They sort of, being quite arrogant Manchester United fans, are like, oh, yeah, well, you're a bit overconfident. Blah. And I said, well, look, Man City, Liverpool, Spurs, that's who's beat us since January. So it's not easy. Like, it's not easy to break us down. And we're a better unit now than we were in January. So, yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I'm not expecting us to get top 7. And if we finish 9th, I'm not going to be crying or giving off. I really am not. Because I'll probably have put it down to some bad luck, injury, or something like that. I think Cape, potential-wise, we're up there. And enough teams like West Ham started slow. Man United did start slow and have picked up. Liverpool, that we can do it. I'm in complete agreement there. Matt, do you agree with us, or are you slightly different? What's your feelings on the top 7 or where we'll finish?
It's going to be the top 1, isn't it, soon?
Hopefully, yeah.
Sorry, did you hear me then?
No, I did. Yeah, you said it's going to be the top 1, and then
sorry. Yeah, it's going to be a top 1, but I feel as though the good thing, like when we played Manchester United the other day, we weren't at our best, but we were still hard to beat, and that is like just see that now is just incredible. I didn't feel like at any point we were gonna lose that game. Yes, Rashford had a chance at the end, but that's just a one-off. The majority of the game, we looked comfortable, we looked okay, and we're missing top players, and I feel as though that top 6 should be worried, and it probably will be a top 7. So sooner rather than later, to be honest. But like I said in previous weeks, I feel as though it depends on how many injuries we get and who we sign in January. I think that's a big plus. But if you compare like how we played against Manchester United, they're going to look to finish in the top 6 again. And I feel as though we weren't far off. If not, we could be better than them. We could match them. So
first half, I agree completely. I thought we were a better team the first half, not by a huge amount, but I thought we were definitely a better team. Should have been ahead, maybe 2-0. Should have had a penalty. Now the penalty thing, we'll not go into that now, but I don't know what you guys think. I felt the Wilson one was a penalty, but I also thought Man United probably could have got a penalty as well in the second half. I don't know what your thoughts were on that. I thought ref was equally bad for both teams, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, I think the Wilson one was a definite penalty. I feel like the Manchester United one was probably a little bit softer. Some days it's given, some days it's not. But the Wilson one was definitely more of a pen.
Yeah, the two. They had Ronaldo's one, and then they had Sancho's one as well. And I thought the Ronaldo one was slightly more contact, possibly. I've seen them given, put it that way. I wouldn't have been overly upset had they been given, but only if we got ours as well. So it was an iffy one. Okay then, Joel. Saying we are going to finish, let's say around 7th. You've obviously nailed your colours, Lamass, and said 7th. Who are our rivals around that sort of the 2-3 teams that you not worried about, but would you be we're looking for? Sunday was very much billed as that kind of game. It was a kind of a 6-pointer in that battle for Europe. So is it Man United? And if no, is there anybody else?
Well, I think if you look at the Premier League table at the minute, I'm just looking here. You've got the likes of Brighton. It depends if without Graham Potter, they're still going to perform. I'd say so at the minute. Yes, Brighton would probably be a rival. United I'd definitely put as a rival because they're inconsistent. They're not going to push themselves into the top 3, so they're definitely around where. And then I don't know in terms of the other teams like there's no other team that I've sort of got a pattern of form which I can go right. They're going to be pushing for like 6th, 7th. It's all a bit on and off in a minute. So, but I'd just say at the minute, at the minute I'd probably just say it's the usual sort of top 4. Plus, Man United and then Liverpool as well, with Brighton possibly.
Yeah, I think you're right there, to be honest with you. And West Ham might come up, but the fell away at the start there. As we've said before in this podcast, they have a good squad, good size. So I think they'd be ashamed to be down there. Well, we will see. So you've already sort of answered my next question, which is where do you think we'll finish? And you've kind of said 7th, 8th, around that sort of mark, which would be just fantastic. And maybe ahead of schedule where we are. If we're looking at being a top 6, top 7 team, we need to be doing it on the pitch. We also need to be doing it off the pitch as well. And over the last sort of month or so, because it hasn't really been the summer. Initially it happened in the summer and it's been bled into the season. We've made a lot of off the field appointments, and a lot's been made in papers like the Athletic, or websites like the Athletic, and newspapers, social media, about Dan Ashworth being sporting director, of Darren Eales being CEO, and then Peter Silverstone just last week there being announced as the CCO. And I had to Google what that meant, and what it meant. What it basically means is it's all that commercial stuff. So stuff that we haven't had. And I think we talked about it last week, one of the best pieces of information, or most revealing or damning, to come out of the article last week, I think it was from the Athletic, was the fact that our commercial department under Ashley had 4 people in it, and under Manchester United, for example, that's about 250, which is just crazy. And it just got me thinking about how we managed to get any deals done. Like, I mean, with 4 people, it's crazy. So Peter Silverstone's come along there. What would you like to see happen commercially? And I'll narrow it down for you a little bit, because it could be anything. It could be tie-in bath toys. I'm thinking more about the stadium. I'm thinking about the training ground and those sort of naming things. And I'm thinking about both sponsors and also manufacturers. And anything you'd like to see, Joel, I'll start with you.
I mean, I'd love 100%. This is sort of my goal, hopefully. I'd love to go back to Adidas. I think it suits us the most. It's going to bring in a lot more money. And then in terms of bringing in to help with financial fair play, I think the next sort of biggest step is, which they've said, they will consult with the fans before they do anything, is getting a big name sponsor to go on the stadium. Obviously, it's a bit of a grey area because you don't want to rename the stadium or anything. Well, personally, I wouldn't want to, but I would like to get some sort of deal across which will go on the stadium.
I mean, I was going to ask you that anyway. Someone that lives in Newcastle, and I'll obviously give my opinion as well as a supporter. Yeah, if they are going to turn around and say, we will give you 500 million, 500 million, which is, I don't think it's that far away from like the Emirates, what they pay, but I don't quite know. But a lot of, let's say a record-breaking money. We're going to give you that if we can call it the Saudi Airlines Stadium. Now, you're taking away that St James's Park. Would you accept that? Or would you be angry or annoyed? Or, obviously you'd like to keep it, but with that amount of money, would you think it's worth that trade-off?
It would be one of them things where you'd have to sort of discuss the semantics of it in terms of if they were to rename that, like technically rename it, or like genuinely like take letters off and like put it on the stadium and stuff. So, I mean, if it was just still known as St James's Park, but then maybe under like when you search up businesses and etc., if it was like called that. So it's a grey area. If it was the former and it was technically called a different name.
What happened with the Sports Direct Arena? And in that, was it St James's Park at the Sports Direct Arena?
Yes, I believe it was something along the lines, but something like that. Like no one, like I don't know a person on earth who went, "Oh, I'm going to the Sports Direct Arena."
Exactly.
To see Newcastle. So it's one of them things. It's very much, it'll be a grey area that'll have to be discussed. But I think when you weigh up, the positives, the pros, the cons, it's definitely a thing that needs looking at.
Yeah, I think it does. And obviously Darren Eales has mentioned about upgrading the stadium as opposed to moving it. They say they're not going to move it, which I think is the right thing location-wise. Excuse me. Matt, what about your feelings on sort of the commercial side of things? Shirts-wise, stadium-wise, where do you stand on it all?
Yeah, I feel like you've got to do every single bit of commercial, stuff as you can. If you look at the training ground, that needs probably, do something there. Maybe change the name of the training ground. When it comes to the stadium, I do feel as though that splits a lot of opinions. For me, it would take a lot of money, but it wouldn't be as a big deal to me if they were to spend, a lot and invest a lot when it comes to, let's say, a Aramco at St James's Park. Like George just said, people wouldn't be saying, let's go to the Aramco at St James's Park. It just wouldn't be happening, would it? You might have a few people, having a bit of a laugh and joke about it, but let's be serious. Nobody really would call it that. So yeah, you've got that, and also I feel like you've got Adidas as well. That needs to happen because Store just haven't been good enough, and they're still, releasing five shirts in the space of a few months. Have I bought every single one? Yes, I have, but that's not the point.
Yeah,
that's not the point. No, but Adidas and Newcastle seem to go, 2 and 2 together. It seems to be a match made in heaven, doesn't it? And the best kits I feel like I've seen are from Adidas. And you look at Arsenal's deal with them and Manchester United's. I know we probably won't be there just yet, but if you compare it to Custore, it's night and day, isn't it? And that's definitely an area I'd definitely go into as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of like Arsenal and Leeds. I'm gonna say Leeds, I think Celtic as well. They're all Adidas. They brought like an Adidas Originals range, basically like leisure wear kind of stuff, and they are all of them, regardless of what you support and all, they all look class. I think Adidas, can be nice. I don't like every Adidas kit. Don't like Manchester United's particularly this year. I like the other ones. I love the Arsenal kits. They're really nice. So yeah, I completely agree. I would love to see Adidas. I used to love Nike. So probably love the Nike. But I kind of got off them a wee bit. Umbro were the same. I used to think Umbro kits were brill, and I'm kind of get off them. And arguably they have as much of a legacy with Newcastle. I know it's before your boys' time, and probably even before my time as well. Than Adidas do in the 80s and things like that. So that would be amazing. And I think it's probably likely. Adidas, I think they were involved in. I'm almost certain they're involved with Darren Neal's last club over in Atlanta. So, yeah, I can see it happening. I think they have to buy Castore out though. Whoever's doing it, they have one more year left, don't they? And they might just keep that. I don't know. I know they bought out Fun 88. That's been pretty much confirmed. We all knew that. I think it was confirmed during the week, so it won't be Fun 88, but it might be someone different for the shirt. But we'll see. On the topic of shirts, as you've kind of acknowledged, Matt, a new shirt was released last week, a 130-year anniversary shirt. And as you said, it's the 5th shirt technically, because they released the 4th one they had to wear for Brighton as a shirt as well. I know your thoughts on it, Joel, but you should tell everyone else. What do you think of that shirt?
I mean, yeah, I love it personally. I know it was a dichotomy of sort of opinions on the likes of Twitter. Well, I actually wouldn't even say dichotomy. It wasn't even a mixed. It was, I'd say, majority in my eyes did not like it at all. Because people were picking out like the stitching, and then maybe the 130 years might have been a bit off center. But I mean, not every single shirt is going to be printed the same. So I mean, I feel like they've just chose a really bad photo to promote it. But no, I love it. I've bought it. It's on the way. Hopefully it gets here before Christmas. With Hermes, it probably won't, but but yeah, no, we'll see, because it does look really nice, and I've saw it in person as well.
I just want to interrupt you to say our sponsor for this week is Hermes, and I'll let you do the copy, Joel. I'll let you do the copy, Joel.
Yeah, no, it's like, Hermes, it's first class. I've actually got it in the wardrobe. I'm not wearing it.
Oh dear, I won't even listen. We don't have a sponsor. I bought it too. It's class. It is really. I think it's lovely. And the moment I saw it, I thought it's beautiful. We talked about this before the show. I love a black Newcastle United shirt. I think I've bought every single one that's been black. It is absolutely mint. I love that there's no sponsor on it. Just sponsors. That's really class. I love a centre badge. I used to hate centre badges. I remember going on record telling people I knew I absolutely low centre badges. Don't put in the centre. I like it in the middle. I don't know what it is, but since got older, I was like, centre badges are amazing. The one under Bruce, which I love that shirt. That's ruined by the sponsor, because it was like a black sponsor, different. That big blue, bright blue Fun 88 sponsor. It's a really nice shirt. The one always reminded me of Matty Longstaff scoring against Manchester United for some reason. That shirt is class. And this new one is really, really nice as well. So yeah, I bought it as well, and we'll race. Hermes can see, can they get to Belfast before they get to Newcastle? They shouldn't really, in theory, but we can see. I think it is en route. But yeah, it's very, very nice. Matt, what's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I quite like it as well. The only thing I probably don't like about it is the fact you've got the badge all over the shirt.
Yeah,
is that right?
I like that. I like that. It's cool.
You like that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. It's cool, but it's horses for courses, isn't it?
Yeah,
you bought it, no?
No, but I will get it before the game tomorrow. I think. Yeah.
I have also bought the white one from this year, which I love as well. And most people seem to think that the blue one's nicer. I also like that. I just preferred the white one. I like the white one as soon as I saw it, despite all the Saudi Arabia similar. But I also hold my head up a wee bit there and say I looked at the Saudi Arabia shirt like last year. This is before the takeover. Remember in January, like not this past one before that, where it was like, oh, it's going to happen, and it didn't happen. And I remember looking up a Saudi Arabia shirt at the time, not to buy, just I was looking at different shirts, and I thought that's a classic shirt. It was pretty similar. So I like that kind of shirt, that style, like green, like white, because Northern Ireland playing those cars very similar to a Northern Ireland away top, and it's pretty cool. So I've got that as well. So that's the two. You were mentioning Castore there, and I agree. I think whoever works in the design department for Castore, for the Newcastle shirts anyway, is doing a cracking job. I have liked every single shirt that we've made, pretty much, that they've made. The delivery and the production and the amount that they can produce and that sort of stuff is a completely different story. It just, I don't know what you think, guys, but to me it comes across as they got this deal with Ashley. They were expected to sell this amount of shirts, and then takeover happened and it went to here, and then, oh, damn. Now they've made other deals. They've Wolves, they've Villa, they've the England cricket team, they've Sevilla, I think someone in Spain as well, Leverkusen, I think. So there's lots of clubs. Now they're obviously a bigger organization than maybe we're giving them credit for, but they just can't deal with the demand. You know, the amount of time they go into like the club store online and it's just nothing there. Like they're selling like golf gear, which is nothing to do with Newcastle, it's just like a golf shirt. It's like, whoa. And one thing that always eludes me is Eddie Howe has like a knack for getting these Newcastle training gear things that cannot be bought. Last year he had the blue zippy thing, which is on sale for about 10 minutes and it's sold out, and I cannot find them for love nor money. And this year, over the past couple of years, he's wearing this hoodie, like a store hoodie with the Newcastle badge on it. It's beautiful.
The black one. I've been trying to find it.
Where is it? I looked at eBay. I mean, I don't know if Joel, you've been to the shop recently. Is it in the shop? Like, I cannot find that.
They have got training gear in the shop, but just not. I feel like they deliberately do that just to make her jealous. Like, let's make an exclusive one-to-one.
Cool. And again, it's black as well. It's pure black with the white badge. It's beautiful. I was like, I wear that all the time. It's class. So yeah, that's interesting. Okay, we'll slightly finish up the section and move on to our predictions in 1 wee minute. I want to ask you a quick question, and we're talking about shirts. What is your favorite ever? Let's do home and away. So your favorite ever home and away. I'll start you off. I'll give you a chance to think. I think I'll have to say, I almost don't want to give the obvious, and so I'm not going to give the obvious answer, which is 95, 96, buttons up the middle, Newcastle Brown in the middle, that sort of thing. I'll probably say the one, again, talking about those middle badges, the middle badge, the one after 97, 98. It's quite popular nowadays online. It's quite in vogue, 97, 98 season for home, and for the away, I'm probably going to say the blue one from the 95, 96 season. So the light blue one with the black and the white stripes going across the middle of the shirt. I think that is an absolute piece of art. It is class. And if Adidas ever do come back, I need to see modern interpretations of those straight away. Which one of you wants to go first?
I'll go. I'll start off with a possibly controversial one. And I don't know if I'm relating to this kit in terms. I don't know, like, if the reason I like this particular kit is because we're doing well that season and the sort of players we had. So I don't know if it's the memories that kind of come with it. But I remember I got this shirt signed by Cisse as well, which is probably why I like it. But it's the 2012 to 2013 third kit. Do you know
that
the
one?
bright yellow
Trying to move it away. That one behind me.
But I think it's that season. But that away kit. Do you know the bright yellow one?
Oh yes, it is. That is that one.
Yeah. So I'd probably say that's definitely up there with one of my favorites.
That's actually one of my favorite ones as well. Oh, wrong way. Sorry, camera. That one, the championship, the gold collar. I love that shirt. And if it wasn't for Wonga and the fact the stripes are broken, it would be like a top 5 kit shirt for me. It is beautiful. It's a really nice shirt. What about away top? Or not your away top? Sorry, home top.
For a home top. You know what? I think I'm going to go for, I believe this is off the top of my head. I could be wrong. I liked it was around 2007, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It was like when we had like Alan Smith, Michael Chopra, that sort of era.
Yeah.
I can't think what the sponsor was, but I've got it in my head.
Is that the
producer Mark will tell us. Say again?
Virgin Money.
Could be Virgin Money. The Virgin
So
Money's on that
Stone
one.
had Northern Rock. It was the 2007 Central Badge, Northern Rock.
Oh yes, I know what you mean. Yep, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's class. Actually, that's class. That one is class. Matt, what about you? Home and away.
Well, I'm quite lucky because I've got all the shirts here.
Oh, very good. That's good. So I'm leaning in to have a look.
Look at.
What do you reckon?
So, what, home or away? What do you want first?
Both. Give us both. Whatever suits.
Okay, so
choice.
My favourite home shirt, I think, has to be 97-99.
Is that the one I picked?
I don't know. Is it? It's with the collar looks similar to what we've got this season.
Yes, and it has the badge in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's mine. That was mine too. That's mine too.
Nuki Brown Owl in the middle.
Yeah.
That's probably my favourite home shirt. I'll probably go favourite away. To be honest, we've done some nice ones over the years. I think the 95, 96, the one with the burgundy.
That's why I like. Oh yes, that's lovely. Yes, that is lovely actually. Yeah.
I've just recently bought a blue away shirt. It could be the third shirt actually.
That wasn't the one that was like Emery was playing for us, was it? Emery and Owen and that sort of look under Souness.
It was 0102, I think.
Ooh,
I do have it. Yeah, probably that one. Or possibly the 97-98 with the orange and green.
That shirt is an awful shirt, but I love that shirt, and I have vivid memories of it. You can chart how popular, how well Newcastle are doing by how readily available there are Newcastle shirts in Northern Ireland or Ireland in general, to be honest with you. Because when I was growing up, one of the reasons why it was easier to support Newcastle was they were good or better than they are now. Well, we're getting there now again. But you could go into a shop with the Manchester Uniteds and the Arsenals and the Chelseas, and City weren't the thing back then, Liverpool's. And you get a Newcastle shirt. And I remember going to a shop in a place called Coleraine, which is up in the north part of Ireland or Northern Ireland. And I bought that shirt. And the idea of under Ashley, that happening is literally impossible. And even now, as we're starting to get better, I cannot walk into a shop, even at Sports Direct, not that I would shop in there, and buy a Newcastle shirt. I have to buy online, which is one of the reasons why I get frustrated with Castor and the whole that process, because it's the only way I can do it, which is frustrating. The dark blue 0102, producer Mark swinging in to the window with an answer. NTL sponsor, I think, for the dark blue. I think I recall that one as well. Yes, that's what I was talking about with the Emery on it. That was, I think Emery had that and Owen played under that as well. Oh, beautiful.
That's beautiful. The one I bought recently.
Yeah. Nice. Okay, cool. That was good. That was good fun. Okay, we'll have a chat about Everton then tomorrow night. Cards on the table. I'm pretty nervous about it. I don't know why. I shouldn't be nervous about it because we thumped them last year and they were rubbish. I don't know why I'm nervous. Maybe because we're better and it's more pressure. I don't know. So that's my feelings on it. I'm not saying we'll lose. I'm just really worried about it. I really don't like Everton. And I don't rate Lampard. So not that they care, but I don't, and so I'm really quite worried about it. Matt, you're going up for it, so you'll be there front and center. What are your feelings on it?
To be honest, I don't want to jinx it. I feel quite comfortable. Yeah, I feel quite comfortable. I don't rate Lampard either. I do feel as though they are slightly harder to beat than they were last season, but the way Everton have been over the past, 5 to 10 years, I think it's embarrassing the amount of money they've spent and the money they've wasted. If you actually go through and look at the list of players they've gone through and the money they've spent is just ridiculous. And if you look at the squad on paper now, it's just, it's compared to our squad, it's literally night and day. So I feel quite comfortable. I think we'll probably win 3 or 4-1, possibly. I'll be surprised at the score. So. Yeah,
you're getting that clipped. You're getting that clipped. Producer Mark's going to clip it for you. That lovely prediction. Here's what worries me, and it's their centre backs. Cody and Tarkowski are seasoned Premier League defenders. They're not top 10. They're middle to bottom, but they're seasoned. They're hard to beat. They're nasty buggers, and they can grind out results. And that's what I think might happen. In that they grind out a 0-0 or nick a goal, just like what happened to Goodison Park. And I think that's what scares me. Is we went to Goodison Park. We bossed them. They needed to send people onto the pitch to tie themselves to the goalposts to get the win the game. They literally were backs to the wall, low XG, doing nothing, and they still won and and it was heartbreaking knowing we were by far the better team there. And my worry is, suppose that happens again. It's just that negativity coming back. I suppose we're hard to break down, we're hard to score against. I don't know. It's trying to shake that old feeling, and I hope that I'm wrong. I won't be surprised necessarily if I am. It's just that feeling that I have. Joe, what about you? You know, are you pessimistic like me, or are you optimistic like Matt?
I mean, I like to say I'm always sort of optimistic, but I do 100% agree where you're coming from. I do feel like it's going to be a game where we might not have too many chances, so we're going to have to be fairly clinical, and we need to be aware of the counter attack. But like I kind of get the feeling it's going to be one of them games. It's going to get a half time 0-0. We're going to be speaking at half time. We should be 1-0 up. We've dominated the game, but it's still goalless. But I feel like if we just grind it out and, you know, continue to create as many chances as we can, I think it's going to be like a 2-0, maybe 1-0 game. So yeah, I'd probably go with that. Plus, we also have a very positive home record against Everton. I think we've beat them the last 3 times at home. And overall, if you look at like the past 5 to 6 years, the record at home at Everton's pretty good. And I just think, I don't know, like I really do think that when Pickford plays, us fans genuinely like affect his game. We're getting his head every time. There's not been a game where he hasn't got annoyed. So like if I was Lampard, I genuinely wouldn't play him. Like,
well, he didn't last time. Did he play against?
He did.
He did.
I think he was pulled the time before though, because it injured.
Yes, I think it was the time before. It was the time before because didn't he score? Because Trippier scored the free kick against him because the arms couldn't reach it, so he definitely couldn't get that. So yeah, but before under Ancelotti pulled him, and I think did they get a result there? I can't remember, but yeah, he definitely pulled him. Look, you're both right. I mean, I'm not. Again, you're correct. Statistically, every other thing apart from just emotionally, I think you're right. That's just a worry. I think, and we kind of really want to beat them. Mostly because they seem oddly obsessed with us. I think we discussed this before in the pod. I don't know why they're obsessed with us. I don't get it, but they are. So I don't really know why, but I don't particularly rate Lampard, as I say, and I would really like to beat them. And my question was going to be, and I've just written here, not a question, just Pickford lol. That's all it says. So this is Pickford lol. And it was when and what minute or when do you think he's going to go to absolute biscuits and fall apart? And I suppose it could be any in the warm up. It's collapse. I don't. I can see him falling to bits. It just depends. It's a bit like when we discussed before the Brentford game, before the Fulham game, and we're saying, look, we just need a little bit of luck here. And we'll thump people. And we did. 9 goals, 2 games, conceded 1. Piece of cake. 2. Sorry, conceded 2. So there's no reason why a mid-table team like that, and they are a mid-table team. They are, and they will be at the end of the season. That we shouldn't be going in and turning them over. It's just that sort of hangover from Ashley is still there. A very quick word, because very soon after that, then we've got the Spurs game, a very different proposition. And if it was negative about Everton, you better believe I'm negative about Spurs because of what happened last year. Joel, what are your thoughts or predictions on the Spurs game?
It's going to be a very tough game, but I don't know why this is. I don't know if I've kept a certain memory with us, but there was a spell, I think, when it was maybe 2 or 3 seasons in a row. I for some reason remember we always got result away at Spurs. Can you remember the Shola Amiobi 2-1? I think it was when he scored outside the box. Then there was another. There was the Tim Krul amazing performance when he turned into a cat and just saved everything. I think he actually had. I think he broke the record for the most saves in a Premier League game that season. Wow! And I don't know. I've just got this thing in my head.
Bruce's first season. Joe Linton scored.
We've got a bit of a knack of giving Spurs a good old go when we're there. So I'd go, if I was to predict, I think I'd go with a draw. But I don't know. With that, let's beat them. They have to take them.
Yeah, I mean they're not. They're up there. They're doing very well, and Conte's a very good coach. But and I hate banging about XG, but their XG and the way they play is quite negative. There's a lot of talk from Spurs fans saying, look, they're delighted where they are, but it's kind of boring to watch and grinding out results. And look, that's good, but I don't know if they're that sort of team that goes in and batters people. I know they did against us initially, but look, we had issues there, and we'll not go into that. There was someone's out in the game. Son plays, Kane plays. Who's out? Fairly. I'm spurred. I'll find that out for you. Someone's out and isn't playing. Richarlison. That's exactly who it is. Now, again, thank you, Christian Mark, as well, chiming in there. I don't know how it's a good thing or a bad thing because he's not great for them. But anyway, it's one less attacker for them, which I suppose is good. I don't know. It's hard. I think I'm going to get beat by Everton, I would take 4 points now. If I snap your hands off for 4 points now, and actually 5 points from those 3 games would be in my opinion, a really excellent return. Beat Everton, draw against those 2 teams away that's good. That's good form. But look, we will see. Matt, what about you? Your feelings on the Spurs game?
Yeah, I'd definitely take a point now. I didn't sit on the fence with Everton, but I am with Tottenham. I just feel as though they're a proper Premier League team now. They've got some world-class players who can win them a game just like that. You saw someone come off the bench not long ago, and I think did he score a hat-trick from the bench?
Yes, he did, yeah.
The players they've got and the coach they've got, they're really hard to break down and they're really hard to beat. And that's a tough game, especially last season's game when we played them at their place and we got smashed. That still haunts me now to this day. When we scored, didn't we, early on with Shaw? And then they just went and absolutely battered us. So I haven't got a lot of confidence going into that.
Yeah, Shelby won't be risked against Everton. Pretty sure Mark giving us some match preview stuff. Does that mean maybe starts plays? I think him playing against Tottenham, maybe even a half or 20, 30 minutes, that could be a big thing. I think we have missed Shelby, as we've talked in the pod a good number of times, quite a lot. And he opens up a different dimension. If he can sit back and he can let Bruno get forward, changes how to play a little bit. As much as I think Longstaff's been decent and has played well, and Willock has been good and things like that. So yeah, we will see indeed. Give me then. I want to get your predictions. I want the Everton prediction, if you please, and then the Spurs prediction, and I'll give you my own. And then with a really quick wee game, just to see it up. So it's a team game. We're all working. Well, you're working together. I know the answers for tonight. So Everton prediction followed by your Spurs prediction. Matt, I'll go with you first.
Everton 3-1 to us. And I don't know whether to be optimistic or... You know what, I'm going to be optimistic. I'm going to go for a 1-1 away at Tottenham. I don't think
good man. Joe?
Yeah, 2-0 against Everton, and I'm going to go for 1-1 against Spurs.
I'm going to go 1-1 against Everton. I know it's horrible. I know it's horrible. I can't shake it. I just think something's going to happen. And I'm going to go either 1-1 or 1-0 to Spurs. I'm being very negative, I know, but I can't shake it. I feel negative at the moment. I don't know why. We're absolutely mint defensively. It's just those injuries have knocked my confidence. I thought we were getting back to a full squad, but we'll finish in a high. We'll not finish in that negative note. I've got a quick game for you guys. It'll be a bit of fun before we finish. We always like to finish with the wee game on the podcast, and this time we're going to work together because Matt absolutely wiped the floor with Max and Joe last week, so I wouldn't want to pit you against them. That pit bull again. So you're going to work with them this time. And all I want, and you can just bounce off answers. I want to see how quickly you can get. I'm going to time you. I want to see how quickly you can get the top 10 Newcastle United goal scorers in the Premier League. So it's not going back any further than that. So back to 92. Give me your top 10 goal scorers, and I'll time you. And it's just about 9 o'clock now, or 9:01. So when you're ready, fire them away, and I will knock them off when you're ready.
Okay, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Go, fire away. Give us them.
Shearer.
Go.
Ferdinand.
1, 2, 3.
Papi Cisse.
4.
Demabar?
Demabar.
Nope.
He's not there, no.
Nope.
Did Lowe score enough?
Nope. Good answer though, but no.
He scored a few.
Callum Wilson.
Is wrong. Producer Mark put that as well. No, wrong. Not yet anyway.
Not yet.
So you've got Shearer, Cole, Ferdinand, Cisse.
Yeah.
It's 4.
That's Cisse. Yeah.
We got Lovenkrands.
What's sorry?
Lovenkrands, was he there?
No. Also a good shout. Just good to hear his name. Martins came out, producer Mark. No. You're missing the second top goal scorer, which I'm quite surprised by.
Rob Lee.
Rob Lee's there. That's 5. With 34 goals, by the way.
Yeah.
Beardsley, was he?
Producer Mark's come in with one of the answers there. Don't know if you see that.
Oh, it is Beardsley.
Beardsley, yeah, sorry, you just said that. Yeah, Peter's number 2
Oh,
with 44 goals.
I thought it'd be before that.
Yeah, that's what I was
No,
thinking.
so we've got Shearer on 148, and then Peter
Yeah.
Beardsley on 44, and then I think I'm dropping a few here, but missed a few you haven't got yet. Ferdinand on 41, Cisse 37, Rob Lee on 34.
Sandy Cole as well.
Andy Cole, sorry, number 3
So
as
how
well.
many we're missing? 3.
So you're missing 1, 2, 3. You've 7, I think.
3.
I'll give you a few clues if you haven't got any.
I've got players like Gutierrez and stuff in my head, but I don't want to say and to get it wrong.
No, Gutierrez.
Laurent Robert.
No, good answer. Bridger Marcus got one.
I was gonna. Oh, Solano.
Solano, big Nobby Solano.
Oh, yeah.
So 2
Let's
more
big
after
Nobby
that.
Is it Espria?
No, that would be my guess as well, actually,
Yeah.
not Espria. So 2 more.
I'm gonna
Relatively recently, one of them.
Best.
One was relatively recently.
Best there.
Who?
Leon Best.
No. Also a good
No.
guess. This player played under, I'm going to pick one of them, played under Rafa.
Oh, Perez.
Perez.
Correct,
Yeah.
Perez. You may have said this person. If you have, apologies, I just didn't hear. There's one more you've missed out on. Now, you might have said him. I didn't hear if you did. I don't think I've counted him. Played under a couple of managers. He now works for the club.
Wait, did we say I said Shola? Is that?
Did you say Shola?
Yeah.
Did you say Shola?
Yeah,
If
we
you
said
did, I didn't hear you.
Shola.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apologies. I thought maybe you did. It was hard to hear. Yep, that's all. So I'll give you all 10 and in order. Alan Shearer, 148. Peter Beardsley, 44. Andy Cole, 43. Shola Amiobi, 43 as well. Ferdinand, 41. Cisse, 37. Same number of goals as Solano. That's crazy. Solano, 37. Rob Lee, 34. And I always say Perez, 32. Not a huge amount of goals there when you add up that very bulky middle and then obviously Shearer out in front. So, just to give you a bit of context, Wilson is 20. He's injury prone, yes, but there's no reason he couldn't break into that top 10. He can get 12 more goals in Newcastle's career and break into that. He's definitely capable of that. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight. That was really good. And hopefully we'll set it off for a really good win tomorrow night and maybe on Saturday or at the weekend as well. Sorry. Thanks very much for joining us, everyone watching along as well. Enjoy the match tomorrow if you're going or if you're just watching it, and we'll see you next week. Bye, guys.